Some relationships on Gossip Girl fell apart in boring and unremarkable ways. Amicable breakups left certain Gossip Girl characters on friendly terms, even after they weren't romantically involved with each other anymore. But in some of the craziest cases, breakups on Gossip Girl turned out to be totally chaotic. Here's a roundup of the most chaotic breakups each main character on the show went through across all 6 seasons. Serena, Vander, Woodson. Serena's breakup with Gabriel Edwards was the definition of chaotic. Everything about Serena's relationship with Gabriel was tragic from the jump, which is why their breakup couldn't have come sooner. He showed up in New York City to convince Serena they should be together, even though he was secretly plotting with Poppy Lifton the entire time. He wanted to meet Serena's wealthy friends and family members so he could swindle them out of their money. Along the way, he developed real feelings for Serena, but that was hardly a factor based on what his initial motives were. In the episode titled The Wrath of Khan, Serena brazenly dumped Gabriel for good. He pathetically begged forgiveness for the scandal and explained that Poppy was pulling the strings behind the scenes the entire time. Regardless of his excuses, Serena lost interest and they were done. Gabriel successfully swindled Rufus Humphrey out of his life savings with Poppy's help before he dipped, which is the one detail that makes his breakup with Serena more painfully cringeworthy compared to her others. Blair Waldorf. Blair almost had her fairy tale ending with Louis Grimaldi after meeting him at an art museum in Paris. Their eventual breakup was as chaotic as a plane crash. She gave him one of her heels as a sign to follow her back to New York and reconnect with her as if she were Cinderella. Louis tracked her down in New York City so they could be together forever. When he proposed to her, it was sort of like a dream come true for Blair. But their relationship fell apart in the most chaotic and public way ever when a video of Blair professing her love for Chuck was posted on the Gossip Girl blog during Blair's wedding with Louis. Everyone at the wedding heard every little detail about Blair and Chuck's feelings for each other, and it broke Louis's heart. He turned into a cold-hearted individual at the wedding and told her she'd be trapped in a loveless marriage with him or he'd bankrupt her family. Blair became a runaway bride that day, and that was the end of her love story with Louis. Dan Humphrey. Dan's relationship with Olivia Burke was doomed from the jump because he was way too insecure to make the relationship last. He knew he was dating a woman out of his league, but he couldn't get it together or rise to the occasion to be with her. Then, Dan, Vanessa, and Olivia's decision to have a threesome together was as toxic and raunchy as it gets. It's what ultimately led to his chaotic breakup with Olivia. According to Nate, threesomes should only ever take place between devoted couples who invite strangers into the mix. Since Dan, Vanessa, and Olivia all knew each other well, there was no way their threesome was going to easily be forgotten or swept under the rug. At the time, Dan and Olivia were dating each other. Dan and Vanessa had a romantic history, and Vanessa and Olivia were roommates. Talk about messy. Dan gave special attention to Vanessa during the threesome, leaving Olivia feeling totally rejected and unwanted. Needless to say, Dan and Olivia's relationship fell apart shortly after. The chaos was cringy. Jenny Humphrey. Asher Hornsby was a horrendous boyfriend to Jenny on Gossip Girl. He was secretly gay, so he never actually liked Jenny in the first place. The entire time he dated her, he was using her to cover up his sexual orientation because he didn't want the world to know that he truly liked guys. He convinced Jenny to tell everyone that she lost her virginity to him, even though it was the furthest thing from the truth. In reality, Asher was secretly hooking up with Eric Vander Woodson and leaving Eric to feel ashamed, as if Eric was nothing more than a dirty little secret. The way Asher spoke to Jenny was rude and condescending as well. He was just the worst. It all came crashing down when Blair outed Asher with a Gossip Girl blast after she discovered that Eric and Asher had met at the Ostroff Center and started secretly dating. Asher was outed at a public party in front of tons of people, and Jenny could no longer maintain the facade of their fake love story. Nate, Archibald. Nate's breakup with Catherine was far more toxic to Nate than any other breakup he went through. His relationship with her was also the most tragic one he got sucked into. Catherine tried to wield her power and money over Nate to control him because she knew he was in a vulnerable position. She was a true predator, since Nate was young and in need of serious financial help. When they broke up, it was pure and utter chaos, because Catherine threatened to expose the location of Nate's dad to the FBI before she realized her secret affair with her own stepson, Marcus Beaton, had been uncovered. Fortunately, Nate was able to get away from her without her exposing his father, but their breakup was still brimmed with chaotic energy. Vanessa Abrams. In an alternate Gossip Girl universe, there's a chance Vanessa and Dan Humphrey could have been endgame. That's something Gossip Girl viewers will never know about since things between Vanessa and Dan turned out so messed up. All good vibes between them went out the window when Vanessa teamed up with Juliet and Jenny to sabotage Serena. Dan found out that Vanessa was part of that plan and told her he would never be friends with her again, nor would she ever get his forgiveness. Their relationship was permanently severed at that moment. Chuck Bass. Eva Coupeau was a wonderful match for Chuck when he was ready to start a brand new life in Paris under a new name. He wanted to be known as Henry Prince, and he was prepared to abandon his life of wealth and opulence for the opportunity to experience a fresh start. Eva is the one who found him with a bullet wound and nursed him back to health. They fell in love, and she genuinely had his best interest at heart. Their relationship fell apart when Blair told Chuck that Eva used to work as a prostitute, along with framing Eva by placing Chuck's passport in her luggage to make it look like Eva was a gold digger. At first, Chuck believed Blair and thought Eva was using him for his money. By the time he realized Eva was an innocent woman who once had to rely on prostitution as a means to an end, it was too late. Eva left him because she felt betrayed that he would believe Blair over her in the first place. Georgina Sparks. Georgina's relationship and eventual breakup with Dan Humphrey was chaotic because she pretended to be someone else when they first met and later pretended he was the father of her baby, even though she knew he wasn't. Since she was one of the show's main villains, the fact that Dan dated her at all was bizarre. Their chaotic breakup was set into motion when Dan uncovered that Georgina was plotting against Blair. For a minute, she successfully convinced Dan that she changed for the better. However, that wasn't true, and Dan wasn't going to stick around to watch her continually grow more vindictive. Vander Woodson. Lily's marriage and divorce from Bart Bass were tragic as hell because there was never anything real or genuine between them. He didn't trust her as his wife, which is why he had a private investigator create files about her, Serena, and Eric. Bart often made Lily feel guilty over her past mistakes. He was the type of partner who thought throwing money at their problems would solve everything, but that was never accurate. The night Bart faked his death, Lily was gearing up to ask him for a divorce so she could be with Rufus anyway. The toxicity between Lily and Bart was so strong. When Bart resurfaced from the dead, he reconciled with Lily. But their relationship was already falling apart by the time he fell off the roof and died for real. Lily was out of town enjoying a spa week when Bart passed away. She returned home to start planning his funeral at that point. Talk about a thoroughly chaotic ending to a cringe-worthy love story. Rufus Humphrey. The relationship between Lily and Rufus seemed like it was built for the long haul, but ultimately, they crashed and burned. There was a lot of toxicity between Lily and Rufus, especially towards the end. Lily lied to Rufus about many things, and her lies were always outrageous. She lied about birthing and giving up their baby for adoption. Later, she lied about spending the summer with her ex-husband, William Vander Woodson, as she was seeking cancer treatments. Rufus definitely couldn't trust Lily at all. This was the most chaotic breakup Rufus went through, because the rest of his breakups just weren't as noteworthy. He truly poured his entire heart into his marriage with Lily, and he still ended up distraught and heartbroken. The chaos of their demise was unreal. Which of these Gossip Girl breakups was the most chaotic in your opinion? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below.